Hey, what's up out there, guys? I hope you're all fantastic today. If you're new here, welcome to Movies Never Say Die, your home for 80s and 90s retro movie content. And today we're kicking off a brand new series. We've spent the past few months diving into the forgotten gems from the 1980s. And in this series, we're going to move along and cover some of the lost movies from the 1990s. This is episode 1. I have 10 movies, one from each year. So let's get into it. This crime drama follows a kingpin who wants to run the city and the cops who will try to stop him his way. When Christopher Walken would star as Frank White and Abel Ferrara's King of New York from 1990, also starring Lawrence Fishburne, David Caruso, Wesley Snipes, Victor Argo, and many other familiar faces. Now, King of New York is often overshadowed by other crime dramas of the era, but I think this film's bold, uncompromising vision and Walken's electrifying performance do make it a standout. I think Walken delivers a riveting performance as Frank White, a ruthless drug lord recently released from prison that's just determined and hell-bent to reclaim his throne and dismantle the city's corrupt establishment. I think Walken's portrayal is very menacing as well as very charismatic, which does drive the film's overall energy and mood. I think this film really excels in its depiction of moral ambiguity and urban decay, skillfully blending visceral action with a contemplative look at power and redemption. I think Abel Ferrara's direction really does bring a raw realism that does enhance this film's immersive quality. The supporting cast with names like Fishburne, Caruso, Snipes, and others all provide strong performances that are able to complement Walken's magnetic lead. The music is certainly the pulse of this story and just the tone of the film overall, and I think its contemporary veneer gives it a timeless appeal. This sports comedy would feature some of the hottest action on the slopes when Dave Marshak and the Misfits from Section 8 would rage all over the mountains. In Ski School from 1991, directed by Damian Lee, starring Dean Cameron, Stuart Freck, and Tom Bresnahan and Darlene Vogel. I think Ski School is just a delightfully lighthearted raunch-com that perfectly captures the laid-back spirit of the 80s fringe comedy that was filled with just waves of gratuitous nudity and tons of amazing, albeit juvenile humor. This movie really, I think, thrives on its irreverent atmosphere and a predictable but very playful storyline. There's a fun mix of comical situations and slapstick gags and cheeky one-liners and a generous dose of skiing action that I think is all surprisingly well shot and still visually impressive all these years later. Ski School is certainly a film that aims to entertain rather than innovate, but its charms do lie with its easygoing vibe and just the chemistry amongst the cast that's led by Cameron and Fracken, who are so good together in this movie. You can tell they really get along. They're having fun. They each bring their own level of charisma. They certainly sell all this silly material more than enough to have fun with this movie. There's also a subtle wittiness to some of the spots of the crude humor, and overall this movie just lands a lot more laughs than those that fall flat. And really, I think Ski School is the perfect watch for those just seeking a party and sex-fueled escape film out on the slopes. This crime thriller is set in a normal town on a normal street, and it follows a common girl whose new roommate is about to borrow a few things without asking, such as her clothes, her boyfriend, and her life. In Single White Female from 1992, directed by Barbette Schroeder, starring Bridget Fonda and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Now, this is just a taut psychological thriller that really delves into the darkness of human infatuation with loads of intrigue. I think Lee delivers an absolutely chilling performance as the deranged and unstable roommate, capturing the essence of a character whose outward charm completely masks this deeply unsettling nature. I think her portrayal really anchors the film's suspenseful atmosphere without question, while Fonda is able to step in and provide a solid counterpart by playing it straight as the unwitting victim drawn into this deadly psychological nightmare. The Story overall, it's serviceable. It doesn't quite match the level of intensity and the range that the performances from Lee and Fonda capture, but it is filled with plenty of suspenseful situations to have you on edge. This film really lives in the shadows, so there's an unnerving, ominous atmosphere while the story moves along. And sure, it tries to do a little too much and maybe doesn't lean into the sinister psychology of things as much as it could have, but Single White Female is still a great entry in the golden age of the erotic thriller. Next up is a sports dramedy about a teenager from California who ventures out to Ohio, where he of course runs into the wrong crowd when he crosses the hockey team in 1993's rollerblading action drama Airborne from Rod Bowman, starring Shane McDermott, Seth Green, Brittany Powell, and Jack Black. While it doesn't reinvent the wheel, Airborne is a charming teen sports action-adventure flick that just captures the essence of 90s youth culture and blends it with just high adrenaline rollerblading scenes. The Airborne's appeal certainly is driven by, I think, its energetic rollerblading sequences and the camaraderie displayed amongst its younger cast during the movie's quieter moments. This movie doesn't really delve deeply into complex emotional themes, but I think it succeeds in just delivering an endearing, coming-of-age, feel-good 90s-fueled experience. It's a lighthearted narrative, and its engaging performances, particularly from McDermott's laid-back charm, do make it an enjoyable watch for those just seeking a fun, nostalgic throwback to 90s teen comedies. And while it may not be groundbreaking, I do think Airborne takes itself seriously enough to result in a spirited and entertaining film that captures the carefree fun of its era, complete with an energetic soundtrack and loads of rollerblading action. Written and directed by Adam Rifkin, this action comedy features a high-speed chase for the border like no other when an escaped convict takes a young woman hostage with a candy bar in 1994's The Chase, starring Charlie Sheen, Christy Swanson, Henry Rollins, Ray Wise, and a comedic ensemble of supporting players. I think The Chase is such an underrated action comedy. Charlie Sheen stars as a charming and bumbling, but also quick-witted convict on the run. This film kicks off with Sheen's audacious escape from a convenience store using a Butterfinger candy bar. This leads to a hijacked car taking its unsuspecting owner, and from there, this movie is a non-stop, comedically chaotic pursuit that just blends slapstick comedy with adrenaline-pumping action so well. I think Sheen is awesome in this movie. He has this great balance of charm and roguish humor. Swanson's effective as well, and this film truly does, I think, thrives on its fast-paced plot, its comedic banter, and it's all supported by a lively ensemble cast featuring names like Anthony Kiedis, Flea, the ever-reliable Ray Wise, and many others. The chase is far from groundbreaking, but the sense of humor in the writing, I think, is just so keyed into the story beats and the characters. This movie just creates a feel-good atmosphere, and it's a textbook definition of 90s escapist cinema. This next film asks you to question the knowledge when students from 49 countries of 6 races and 2 sexes would converge on one campus in John Singleton's Higher Learning from 1995, starring a star-studded cast led by Ice Cube, Michael Rappaport, Omar Epps, Regina King, and many, many others. A film that still resonates so much today. I think Higher Learning is a powerful drama that explores the complexities of college life through a multifaceted lens. This film's scope is truly ambitious. It tackles themes of race and politics, sexual identity, social justice, radical mentality, as well as assault, all with a very raw and unflinching eye. I think the narrative in this film is both compelling and confrontational, just offering a blunt examination of prejudice as well as the quest for self-discovery, both good and bad. The performances from this younger cast, I think, are impressive across the board, with Epps and Rappaport delivering particularly impactful portrayals of their complex characters, although Rappaport, who is just haunting in this role, certainly does steal the spotlight. And while Higher Learning occasionally veers into the melodrama, I think it absolutely succeeds in sparking important conversations about the issues facing students and society. This movie's gripping, it's thought-provoking, it's heartbreaking, and overall, it's a significant exploration of modern American campus life and all of its underlying tensions. Next up is a wild sports comedy about a couple of super fanatics who kidnap the star player of the opposing team to help their home team win a championship. In Celtic Pride from 1996, directed by Tom DeSergio, starring Daniel Stern, Damon Wayans, and Dan Aykroyd. Though the plot may seem far-fetched and the humor more than occasionally veers into the absurd, Celtic Pride is a movie that absolutely succeeds in its primary goal. That is, providing a lighthearted and entertaining take on sports fanaticism through a heavily comedic lens. This film's playful tone and its energetic performances make it a fun, if slightly predictable comedy. I think this movie really thrives on the comical chemistry between Stern and Aykroyd, who deliver just spirited, high-energy performances as the bumbling yet well-meaning fans. Damon Wayans also adds to the fun with his charismatic portrayal of the kidnapped player who quickly turns the table on his captors in truly comical fashion. Now, not all of the humor works here, but much of it does, and the unique appeal in this plot is undeniable. I think Stern and Aykroyd and Wayans are a great trio. They all go in on these roles for the best, and fans of sports comedy will certainly find Celtic Pride a nostalgic and amusing look at the lengths to which people will go to support their teams. Moving along, this next high school set thriller is about a teacher who returns to the job after being stabbed, and when he does, he finds his limits have been pushed and that the wolves must be tamed. In 1997's 187, directed by Kevin Reynolds, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Kelly Rowan, and Clifton Collins Jr. To me, this is a movie that 100% excels through its raw and unflinching depiction as it explores all the challenges faced by educators in tougher environments. This film's dark and realistic tone, combined with Jackson's compelling lead performance, make it a memorable and very thought-provoking entry in the very busy genre of 90s high school thrillers. I think Jackson is just fantastic in this movie overall. He delivers a powerful and nuanced turn, just capturing the character's complex blend of empathy and frustration and disillusion and resolve. His portrayal really does drive the film's emotional core. He does make the audience feel the weight of his character's moral and just personal dilemmas, and it's just a great time to see Jackson earlier in his career playing a character as opposed to just playing himself and everything. But for as good as his performance is in this film, it's equally countered by Collins Jr., who just delivers a knockout character for the needs of this story. 187 overall does have some pacing issues, and its intense subject matter may not be so much fun for some viewers to engage with, but I do think the film's powerful message about resilience and hope actually shine brighter in the face of this plot's tragedies. This next action thriller centers around a group of sea scavengers who board a luxury ocean liner to hijack it, but instead run into the gnarliest beast they've ever seen. And Stephen Sommers' Deep Rising from 1998, starring Treat Williams, Famke Janssen, and a supporting cast of familiar faces from the era. I always have fun when I'm watching this movie. It's an action horror adventure that combines high seas thrills with a delightfully over-the-top supernatural twist. Deep Rising just overall delivers a high-energy mix of suspense and action and loads of campy humor. I think Treat Williams brings a sense of charm and bravado to this role, effectively anchoring the film's more outlandish moments. I think Famke Janssen kicks ass in this movie as well. The special effects, while dated by today's standards, I think do offer a fun, spectacle-filled visual experience, particularly in the depiction of the monstrous sea creature that wreaks havoc on this ship. And overall, I think Deep Rising is just an entertaining blend of genre elements, from the tension of a heist gone awry to the excitement and chaos of monster mayhem, all within the confines of a ship. It's all a great time, and while it may not break new ground in the action or horror genres, its playful approach and its fast-paced narrative make it a guilty pleasure for fans of 90s creature features. This 70s set comedy follows a kid from Pawtucket named Tim. Tim and his friends have been busted by the local police one too many times, so Tim's getting sent off to boarding school instead of jail. In 1999's Outside Providence, directed by Michael Corrente, starring Sean Hatosi, Amy Smart, and Alec Baldwin. This often forgotten coming-of-age dramedy captures the tumultuous journey of a young man growing up into his own in the 70s. This movie skillfully balances a variety of attempts at humor with heartfelt drama, exploring themes of self-discovery and family and class structure and the quest for identity. Hitoshi delivers a nuanced performance in the lead, capturing his character's blend of rebelliousness and wanting for more and his vulnerability, all while keeping his youthful charm. The supporting cast, including names like Smart and Baldwin, also add depth to the story with their engaging portrayal of these everyday characters. And this is certainly, to me at least, one of those just homey comedies that has a lived-in charm to it. The script overall provides a nostalgic look at adolescence, punctuated with a lot of witty dialogue and a period-appropriate soundtrack. And while Outside Providence does tread a lot of familiar territory in its exploration of teen angst and personal growth, its charm does lie in its authentic portrayal of a young man's journey from delinquency to self-realization. And that wraps up this video for today, guys. Episode 1 of my Lost Movies from the 1990s series is complete. This list is filled with 10 modestly forgotten 90s movies that are still very much fun to watch today. Thank you guys for watching this video. As always, I greatly appreciate all of your support. Episode 2 of this series will be coming very soon. I hope to see you guys all there. And until then, movies never say die.
Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there.
Flag of war. You gotta become war.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?